My name is Aisha. I am 28 years old. I was born in a small town. My family was not rich, but we were happy. I have one younger brother and one older sister. My father was a teacher, and my mother was a housewife. They taught us to be kind and honest. I was a good student in school. I loved to read books and learn new things. I always dreamed of a happy life with a loving husband. My parents wanted the best for me. When I turned 22, they found a good man for me. His name was Zubair. He was 30 years old. He had a good job and a kind heart. He spoke to my father with respect and promised to take care of me. Our wedding was simple but beautiful. I was very happy. Zubair treated me well. He bought me gifts, took me to new places, and always made me feel special. We laughed together, shared our thoughts, and planned our future. I thought I had a perfect marriage. After 1 year, I gave birth to a baby boy. We named him Ayan. He was the light of my life. Zubair was a good father. He played with Ayan and helped me with small things at home. Felt lucky. But slowly things changed. Zubair started coming home late. He looked tired and lost in his thoughts. First I thought it was work stress. I tried to support him. I made his favorite food, talked to him nicely and gave him space. But he became distant. He did not smile as much as before. He did not hold my hand or talk about our future like he used to. One night I asked him, "Is everything okay?" He looked at me and smiled, but his smile was not real. "Yes, Aisha, I am just busy with work," he said. I wanted to believe him, but my heart told me something was wrong. Days passed, and my fear grew stronger. I noticed he was always on his phone. He smiled while reading messages but never shared anything with me. He started leaving home early and coming back late. One day I decided to check his phone. I knew it was wrong, but I had to know the truth. When he went to the bathroom, I took his phone and opened his messages. What I saw broke my heart. There were messages from another woman. Her name was Sana. She called him my love and my life. He replied with sweet words, the same words he once said to me. Felt dizzy. My hands were shaking. My eyes filled with tears. I put the phone back and sat on the bed, unable to breathe. My world was falling apart. When he came out, I wiped my tears and pretended to be normal. But inside I was dying. I wanted to scream, to ask him why he did this to me. But I stayed quiet. That night I could not sleep. My mind was full of questions. Who was she? How long had this been going on? Did he still love me? The next day I followed him. I wanted to see where he went. I took a taxi and told the driver to follow his car. My heart was beating fast. I was scared of what I would find. After some time, his car stopped in front of a small house. He got out and knocked on the door. A young woman opened it. She was beautiful. She smiled at him and hugged him. He kissed her forehead. I felt like my heart had stopped. I wanted to run to him and scream. But my feet were frozen. I stood there, watching my husband with another woman. Tears ran down my face. I felt betrayed, alone and lost. I went back home before he could see me. I sat in my room thinking about my life. What should I do? Should I leave him? Should I fight for my marriage? I did not know. That night he came home late again. He smiled at me like nothing had happened. My anger grew. I could not stay silent anymore. Who is she, Zubair? Yes. He looked at me surprised. What are you talking about? He said. Sana, I whispered. Who is she? His face changed. He looked away. I saw guilt in his eyes. I waited for his answer. My heart was breaking, but I needed to hear the truth. After a long silence, he took a deep breath. I married her, he said. I felt like the ground under me had disappeared. My body became cold. I could not believe my ears. You married her? I repeated. Yes, he said. I did not plan this, Aisha. Just happened. I love her. His words stabbed me like a knife. He loved her. Not me. Not anymore. I wanted to scream, to cry, to ask him why. But I could not speak. My heart was too heavy. Zubair sat down and held his head in his hands. I never wanted to hurt you, he said. You are a good wife, a good mother. But I love Sana too. I looked at him, feeling broken. And what about me, Zubair? What about our son? Did you think about us before doing this? He closed his eyes. I am sorry, he said. Sorry. That was all he had to say. I stood up and walked to the window. My tears fell like rain. My dreams, my happiness, my love, it was all gone. I did not know what to do next. But I knew one thing. My life would never be the same again. I sat near the window, staring at the dark sky. My heart was heavy. My husband had married another woman, and I had no idea how to accept it. I wanted to scream, to cry, to run away, but I could do nothing. Zubair sat on the bed, looking at the floor. He did not say anything. I could hear my own heartbeat. I felt weak, like my body had no strength left. After a long silence, I turned to him. Why, Zubair? My voice was soft, but my pain was deep. Was I not enough for you? He sighed. It was not planned, Aisha. I met Sana a year ago. First we were just friends. But then things changed. I clenched my fists. Things changed. I repeated. Changed. You started loving another woman while I was here, waiting for you, trusting you. He looked at me with guilt. I never wanted to hurt you. I laughed bitterly. But you did, Zubair. You destroyed me. Tears filled my eyes, but I refused to cry in front of him. I needed to be strong. And what now? What do you expect me to do? I don't know, he admitted. I want to take care of both of you. I looked at him, shocked. Both of us. Yes, he said. I still respect you, Aisha. You are the mother of my son. I will not leave you. His words made me sick. You want me to stay here while you live with her too? He nodded slowly. I felt like I could not breathe. And what about my feelings, Zubair? Do they not matter? You can hate me, he said. But please don't leave. I turned away. I had spent 6 years loving him, trusting him, building a home with him. And now, he expected me to accept another woman in our lives. That night I could not sleep. My mind was full of questions. What should I do? Could I live like this? Would I ever be happy again? The next morning I saw my son, Ayan, sleeping peacefully. He was only 5 years old. He did not know that his father had changed our lives forever. I kissed his forehead and wiped my tears. Had to be strong. For him. Zubair left for work without saying much. I sat in my room thinking about my future. Had 2 choices. Stay and accept my fate or leave and start a new life. But where would I go? I had no job, no income, no place to stay. My parents would support me, but I did not want to be a burden. Few hours later my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Hello. Soft voice spoke. Aisha. Froze. I knew that voice. It was her. Tuna. I tightened my grip on the phone. What do you want? I just wanted to talk, she said. There is nothing to talk about, I said coldly. Please, Aisha. I know you hate me. But I am not your enemy. I laughed bitterly. You married my husband. You destroyed my home. And you think you are not my enemy. There was silence on the other side. Then she sighed. I know I hurt you. But I love him too. I did not plan this, Aisha. It just happened. Closed my eyes. Those words again. Just happened. As if love was a mistake. What do you want from me, Sana? Asked. I want peace, she said. I don't want us to fight. I clenched my teeth. You took my husband. And now you want peace. I want us to live without hate, she said softly. Zubair loves you too, Aisha. He does not want to lose you. My heart ached. Love. I whispered. Love is not betrayal. Love is not lies. If he truly loved me, he would never have done this. I ended the call. My hands were shaking. Few minutes later Zubair called me. I ignored it. Then he sent a message. Sana called you. I stared at the screen. He knew. I did not reply. I did not want to talk to him. That evening he came home early. He looked at me carefully. Aisha, I know this is hard for you. I crossed my arms. You don't know anything, Zubair. He sighed. I just want things to be normal. Normal? I laughed. Nothing is normal anymore. You changed everything. He sat down. No. But I still care about you. I looked at him with cold eyes. If you cared, you would not have married her. I cannot undo what happened, he said. But I want to make things right. I shook my head. You cannot fix this, Zubair. For days I felt lost. I avoided Zubair as much as possible. I took care of Ayan, cooked food, and stayed in my room. My heart was full of pain, but I had no answers. Then one day my sister called me. She lived in another city. Come stay with me for some time, she said. You need a break. Thought about it. Maybe she was right. Maybe I needed to go somewhere to clear my mind. That night I told Zubair. I am going to my sister's house. He looked worried. For how long? I don't know. He held my hand. Please, Aisha, don't leave me. I pulled my hand away. You left me first, Zubair. The next morning I packed my bags. Ayan was excited. Mama, are we going on a trip? He asked. I forced a smile. Yes, my love. We are. Zubair stood by the door. Aisha, please think again. I looked at him one last time. You made your choice, Zubair. Now it's my turn. I walked away, holding my son's hand. I did not know what the future held. But one thing was clear. I would not live in someone else's shadow. I sat in my sister's house, watching Ayan play with his cousins. His laughter filled the room, but my heart was still heavy. I had left Zubair, but I was not free. My mind was full of questions. Did I do the right thing? Should I go back? How would I live without him? My sister Hina sat beside me. Aisha, you are not alone, she said gently. You don't have to go back if you don't want to. I looked at her. But what will I do, Hina? Have no job, no money. How will I take care of Ayan? She held my hand. You are strong, Aisha. You will find a way. I sighed. I never thought this would happen to me. I loved him so much. She squeezed my hand. Love should not hurt you, Aisha. Love should respect you. Her words stayed in my mind. I spent the next few days thinking about my life. I had always been a housewife. I depended on Zubair for everything. But now I had to stand on my own. One morning, Hina gave me an idea. Why don't you teach children? You were a good student. You can teach English or math. I hesitated. Do you think I can do it? She smiled. I know you can. With her help, I put up a small notice in the neighborhood. Home tuition available. All subjects for young children. The next day a woman called me. She wanted me to teach her son. I was nervous, but I said yes. It was my first step toward independence. Ayan sat beside me as I prepared my lessons. Mama, are you going to be a teacher? He asked. I kissed his forehead. Yes, my love. I am. Slowly, more children joined. I started earning a little money. It was not much, but it was mine. For the first time I felt hopeful. But then Zubair called. I stared at my phone. My hand shook. I had ignored his calls for weeks. But this time I answered. Aisha, he said softly. How are you? Closed my eyes. Why are you calling, Zubair? I miss you, he said. Ayan misses me too. My heart ached. You made your choice, Zubair. I know, he said. But I can't live without you. Please come back. Tears filled my eyes. And what about Sana? There was silence. Then he sighed. She is my wife too, Aisha. But I love you. I made a mistake. I want you back. I wiped my tears. You don't get to break me and then ask me to come back, Zubair. I will do anything, he said. I will give you a separate house. I will give you everything you need. I shook my head. The only thing I needed was your love and loyalty. But you gave it to someone else. Aisha, please, he begged. I took a deep breath. I have changed, Zubair. I am not the same woman who waited for you every night. I am not the same woman who cried in silence. I am learning to live without you. He was quiet. Then he said, Do you still love me? Closed my eyes. Love is not enough, Zubair. Trust is important too. And you broke it. Ayaan ran to me, holding his toy. Mama, look. I smiled at him. Yes, my love. It's beautiful. Zubair heard him. Please, Aisha. At least let me see Ayaan. Thought for a moment. You can visit him. But I will never be your wife again. His voice broke. Aisha. I took a deep breath. Goodbye, Zubair. I ended the call. Tears ran down my face, but my heart felt lighter. I looked at Ayaan, who was busy playing. My son needed a strong mother, not a broken one. I wiped my tears and smiled. Life had hurt me, but it had also taught me something important. I did not need a man to complete me. I was enough.